Hi all, right, welcome back. Enemy Action Kharkov, German Solo Part 40. And this is the beginning of turn 4, and I've just basically stopped that video and just started again because, I just left it on the phone now as well. So, I will upload that as a separate part. That'll be part 39. This is part 40. So, let's get the turn started. Let's get a look at what new things are going to happen today. So step one is the reserve phase. Take units from the current turn space and place them in their reserve boxes. And then from turn 3 we would get to deploy delayed German reserves. There's no delayed German reserves, so it's just a case of getting the reserves put in the reserve units boxes. Okay. So yeah, now is our time. So this is turn 4. This is the calendar space for it. Okay, the Soviets get first guards, 3 strength infantry unit, and that's all they get. All this other goodness is ours. So I suppose if we could just have a look at these up here just now, so you can see we've got 2. No, you know what? The white's not very good there. Let me move things down a little bit. Okay, there we go. I'll just put them on the map there just so yeah. Pyramid of goodness. We've got 2 3-step, 5 strength, 2nd SS units. 3 armoured units from 57 Corps. Okay, not the strongest. These 2 are just 2s. 3 3-strength armoured units from 48th Corps. And then we also get 2 3-strength. Oh no, sorry, 3 3-strength armoured units from 3rd Corps, and then a couple of 2-strength infantry units as well. So all that's going in the reserve units box, and well, I'm hoping that most of that's going to be out in the map this turn, and hopefully out in the map and then moving into good positions, like to give us a chance of maybe winning the game at the end of this turn, possibly. It's I'd be surprised if I get to that part, but very surprised. That's just a final look at the reserves that we've got, but just to link that in with the eliminated units that we've got. So I mean, it's a tough choice though to draw a card that says replace 2 points and maybe 48th Corps when you've got 3 units that you could deploy with that card, and then you think, do I be greedy? Am I going to be greedy and put them in there first before I then get to deploy even more? So I mean, if you draw 2 cards together, the temptation's more there, but as you can see, I need to get these units out quickly, so I'm probably going to have to look here before looking there, but I suppose that's when you make the right choices and the wrong choices maybe. Anyway, that's what we've got to come, and hopefully we can get a lot of that out. So just glancing in there, sorry, it's like weird angle, just now that we've got a clear calendar space. So this is turn 4 from February 10th to the 12th. Fixed artillery range stays at 4. German hand stays at 5, and supplemental stay at 5. Start Soviet supply, so that's when they have to trace supply. Start Soviet garrisons, okay, so that's the big thing that's going to kick in. And we know there's quite a few rules that kick in, restrictions, things attached to the Soviet movement methods, so we're going to have to be wary of some changes. And this is maybe where things, I don't know, I mean, I have certainly found this game easier, which is weird because it was pretty well known in Enemy Action Ardennes that the German soul was an easier AI to deal with than what the Allied soul was. I'm finding the opposite here up to now. The comparisons anyway, because the German soul in Enemy Action Ardennes is like the Soviet soul in this game, and then the Allied soul in Enemy Action Ardennes is like the German soul in this game. That's how things operate. Anyway, we'll see if this maybe increases issues. Not that we've not had our issues, like yeah, there's still things going to come up, but yeah, okay. Right, so that's the reserve phase. So card prep phase, yeah, nothing really changing with that. So German cards first. So primary reinforcement cards in the drop out, and supplemental reinforcement cards face down supplemental. So we've got 1, 2. I know the light's maybe a bit strange here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got the Army Group South card. So they're the 4 cards that we're getting for this turn, and then there's 1 for game turn 5 to come, and then 1 Manstein, and 2 for game turn 6 to come. But I'll put them, put them there. That's where I put them. So primaries, there is 1 primary this time. So sorry, the light is. If I put it like that, it goes all dark. Yeah, right. I'm looking at it from a funny angle as well. So we get 1 primary this time. So that goes face down the draw pile, because obviously you get primary cards every turn. And then we get 3 extra supplementals. Quite nice looking cards. I mean, okay, these 2 are camp group, but they're strong. They're strong cores, and then obviously Army Group South. So yeah, we don't know if we're getting them or not. So they go face down in the available supplementals, and then we shuffle the available supplementals, and we're going to draw 5 of them and place them face down into here. So I'll do that. Yeah, so the big change up with that is, if you recall last turn we only had 1 supplemental card left, but because we've added 3 new ones, we've got 4 supplemental cards that are going to be randomly not in this turn. So yeah, there's that extra randomness coming into it now. And then the discarded supplementals from the last turn, obviously we're not going to see them this turn, and they go in there. And then finally we just check they're all primaries. They are. That's our 5 primaries. We've now got 6 primary cards. They go in there. We shuffle this up and draw our hand of 5 for the turn, the start of the turn anyway. Okay, that's that done. Shuffled up. I've drawn my 5 cards. Haven't looked at them. We'll get around to that shortly. Right, Soviet side, they've no more reinforcement cards to bring in now, so it's just a case of shuffling this up, and then that's their new draw pile for the start of the turn. Okay, that's that all shuffled up and ready to go. Right, into the supply phase. Now, this is where things change up a little bit. Step 1 of the supply phase is from turn 4. We place garrisons in eligible Soviet VP and village hexes. 15.1. Right, so I'm going to get the book open at 15.1 and have a look and see what that does. This is when we actually look at this and then say, oh, I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have done that. Probably, anyway. 15.1, right, okay. Right, so Soviet garrisons. Okay. Right, Soviet garrison markers represent, this is on page 44, 15, Soviet garrison. Soviet garrison markers represent small forces holding Soviet rear areas and flank positions. Garrison markers are placed in village and VP hexes only. Okay. A hex with a garrison marker is referred to as a garrison hex. 15.1, from turn 4, placing garrisons. Garrison markers are placed on the map in step 1 of the supply phase, beginning on game turn 4, which is where we're at, and as called for by the Soviet command event Garrison Front. See player aid. Okay, we'll get around to that when it comes up. Garrison placement process. Place a garrison marker in every empty Soviet VP hex from which Soviet supply can be traced. Okay. Okay, well the garrisons are on the back of the ownership markers there. If it shows up. I was looking at one I showed you recently, but I don't know if that's focused that right. I don't know. I think it is. Yeah, it was. Yeah. They're actually in the back. So I mean, I was going to do this at first, but is that not silly? Shouldn't I just turn it over and that then signifies that it's... I think so, eh? Well, mind you, I'm thinking that if maybe supply wasn't traced, then... I don't know. You know what, I'll just put... There's only 3 of them there, isn't there? So, place a garrison marker in every empty Soviet VPA hex from which Soviet supply could be traced. Right, I'll just do it this way. I don't know if that's daft or not. Maybe you don't need the ownership marker in there while you've got them on, but that's the first time I've put these up. So, and then Sylvansk as well is empty. Now, 2, 3, 4, we've got 7 victory points, so there must be 3 others. We've got here, oops, yeah, like show people, Grant. Here, this is Soviet owned. This is Soviet owned but occupied, so that's 1, 2. Where's the other one then? No, 1, 2. Yeah, here. Izium. Yeah, so it's occupied too. So the other 3 are occupied. So we can, yeah, because it did say empty. Okay, place a garrison marker in every empty village hex meeting all these requirements. A Soviet unit is proximate, or from turn 5 onwards the hex is in Soviet support. Soviet supply can be traced from the hex. A German unit is not adjacent. A German unit would be proximate to the garrisoned hex, or German supply can be traced to the hex, and within the current Soviet operational limit. Well, operational limit's fine just now. Yeah, this is. I had a feeling this was going to get a bit, yeah, reedy and a bit like more involved. When checking German proximity and supply trace in this process, all garrisons not adjacent to German units are considered to possess a Soviet zone of control. Treat garrisons and hexes adjacent to German units as if they do not exist. Okay. Check villages in sequence from south to north and within a given hex row from west to east. In other words, in descending hex number order. Placement of garrisons affect the subsequent placement of garrisons in villages in the same step. If the placement of a garrison causes another garrison in a village to no longer meet the placement requirements, remove that earlier placed garrison, even if placed in an earlier turn. For example, if you place a garrison in a hex because a German unit would be proximate to the garrison hex, then you place a garrison in another hex that blocks that proximity, you would remove the earlier placed garrison. Okay, well I didn't really follow any of that, I just read it out. So, yeah, there's going to be a bit to get through here. Okay, let me read some more of this and try and understand it. Okay, so to check, I'm just trying to work out the best procedure of going through this, because I've not seen this done, and well, I've not seen any video footage of this either, so I've not really got a clue. Check villages in sequence from south to north and within a given hex row from west to east. So we're going south is this way, north is that way, is that right? Yeah. And then in a given hex row, is it from west to east? South to north, and then west to east. Oh, right, okay. So that means I'm starting further down. That means I'm starting at this, looking south to north, west to east. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. And then within a given hex row from west to east. Yeah, right. I'm gonna have to mess about with this, I think. So what are we looking for? Well, there's 2 main parts I can see. A German unit needs to be proximate to the garrison hex. And also a Soviet unit is proximate to the garrison, to the village hex. So, let's just say, let's just point at this one here. Here's a village here, right? Then what we need is we need a unit proximate to it, and the Soviets need a unit proximate to it. And then Soviet supply needs to be traced from it. Oh no, hang on, it's not just the German unit we be proximate, it's or German supply can be traced to it. Okay, so I think the bigger one to look at would be a Soviet unit as proximate to it. Yeah, that is the very first step. A Soviet unit is proximate, and we're going to ignore from 5 onwards because the hex is in Soviet support. A Soviet unit is proximate or... Okay. So... Right, well let's look. I mean, I'm looking in the rows. Well, I should be looking that way, I know, but... So I'm looking that way. Okay, right, I'm trying, alright, okay. Let me pause and see if I can mark a couple of options and see if we're on the right track. Okay, so that's me just place 1 in there because a Soviet unit is proximate to that. I mean, I'm sure it's maybe not going to work because I think if it means Soviet supply can be traced from that hex, yes. But then the third one breaks it because a German unit is not adjacent. These are the requirements, and there is a German unit adjacent, so that breaks that one. But it would also be broken. A German unit is not proximate to that, and also German supply can be traced to that. So that would rule it out as well. And I know it's ruled out the adjacency. I'm just trying to get through the. And then the last one we don't need to care about because that's operational limit. So that's not an option because it's adjacent. So, right, let's find something that might happen then. Yeah, and so, yeah, again, although Soviet units proximate to that, a German supply is not traceable. That's probably the better one to look at, actually. A German unit would be proximate to the garrison hex, or German supply can be traced to the hex, yeah. So German supply cannot be traced to these. This is adjacent. So that doesn't work. This is adjacent. Right, okay. Okay, I think I've found one. You know, you need to go through these things and start understanding how it's working. So that one there, Soviet unit is proximate to that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Place the garrison market in a right empty village hex. Yeah, so we're checking Soviet proximity to the hex, yeah. Soviet supply can be traced from the hex, yeah, no problem. Yeah. A German unit is not adjacent, yeah. A German unit would be proximate to the garrison hex, right, no. Or German supply can be traced to the hex. So from that hex, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 onto this road, and then we're away. So German supply is traceable to that hex. Alright, 1, 2, yeah, we're not going through Soviet zone controls. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, okay. And then it's in the... So that satisfies all the requirements. However, when checking German proximity, which we're not, we're checking, and supply trace, which is what we are doing in this process, all garrisons not adjacent to German units are considered... All garrisons not adjacent to German units are considered to possess a Soviet zone of control, okay? Treat garrisons in hexes adjacent to German units as if they don't exist. Because when we activate a German unit, I'm assuming the garrison's going away. That's why you don't look at them. Right, okay. So, I think that one's fine, but I might have jumped the gun because... placement of garrisons affect the subsequent placements of garrisons. Oh my, okay, hang on. Okay, so yeah, you need to do them in order, and they need to be able to still have these requirements as you're placing them, or you would then remove them. I think that's what that's kind of saying. So that's why you need to carefully do it from south to north, west to east. It needs to be done. Okay. Did I miss anybody then? Let me come back here a little bit. So, is there anything further south that we might have missed? Because I mean, I just picked that one out of the bunch. Well, that's adjacent, right? So that doesn't work. I think we looked at these two. Well, actually, that Soviet unit's proximate to that, isn't it? Okay, let's come back a little bit then. I'll leave that red cube there though, I think. Right, okay, actually I might need to come back to here because we've came away from Zimiev, and here's what I'm saying. You know, when I said once we find out how this works, we're going to be like, oh right, I shouldn't have done that. So maybe this is where it kicks in. I'm going to need more red cubes. Well, maybe not. So this Soviet unit is proximate to all these, by the way. So it's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this one can come around. So I suppose this is the most southern hex we could probably get. This one here. I'm going to leave the other cubes though, just now. So, but a German unit's not adjacent. So Soviet supply. Yeah, okay. We need to trace supply. So that might be an issue. Well, maybe not. Now that we've abandoned Zimiev. Oh well, hang on. The Soviets don't control Zimiev yet, so we need to get the supply from some other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 onto the road there, down there, and away. Yeah, yeah. So Soviet supply is traceable at that. Yeah. Can't go through that town, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 onto the road. Then there's no zone of controls we're going through, and yeah, up to there, and yeah. German unit is not adjacent. German unit would be proximate to the garrison hex. Well, in actual fact, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we don't, but German supply is traceable to it as well, and it's within the Soviet operational limit. Okay. And I think that's as far. I mean, that's as far as this guy can get. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I was looking at him. He's the one that's not. He's not adjacent to a German unit, so he's the one that can stretch out far enough. Well, he's actually the one that can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into Lozovia, and increase the victory points from 7 to 8. Yeah, I kind of forgot about that at the end, didn't I? Well, there's nothing I could have done about it. Well, that's not true. I could have used my any one unit to move that guy back into there. I could have. Well, we just have to hope Popov don't activate on the very first impulse, and then maybe, I mean, we could actually even deploy a third corps unit in there. I think. Yeah, it's going to be within 3 of that guy. So there you go. I planned that. Not. Right. So from south to north. Right. So, but I think this is the only one on this. It says row. It says check village in sequence from south to north, and within a given hex row, from west to east. I mean, I would call that a column, but I don't know. I suppose, yeah, that they're right. Okay, so that's the row, and then from there, west to east. But there's no. Well, this is the one you're going to check first, Grant, because there's nothing further west of that, is there? Yeah, that is the very first one. Well, can we have a garrison there? please. Because I think there's one going there. So I put that garrison there. Right, well, let's just do that and then do the next one and then see if the next one applies, because it looks like you can sometimes remove some of them. Yeah, it looks fiddly actually, doesn't it? I know it's probably something that has to be here, and I know this was a part of Enemy Action Ardennes, which, I mean, it might not be the first time I'm doing it as well, so it might become smooth as silk. Who knows? Yeah, so it's the bit that says, if the placement of a garrison causes another garrison in a village to no longer meet the placement requirements, remove that earlier placed garrison, even if placed in an earlier turn. So yeah, it could happen in this turn, but it could also have been in the previous turn. Right, okay. And then, for example, if you place a garrison in a hex because a German unit would be proximate to the garrisoned hex. So right now this is proximate, however German supply can be traced as well. And that instruction says a German unit would be proximate to the garrison hex or German supply can be traced. So assume if for some reason this wasn't proximate anymore, but I could still trace German supply, then surely that still stays there, does it not? Yeah, you would think so. Okay, let's look at the next one in line then, see if we get something that might stop. So this is proximate, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, yeah, hold on. Remember now that they exert a zone of control. Eh? Yeah, that doesn't interfere. I can still, although this traces a zone of control, I can still trace supply to the hex. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Why are you doubting yourself there, Grant? Because if this was a Soviet unit and we were checking if supply could be traced to that unit, yeah, in fact it tells you to assume that you've got a unit in the hex, does it not? Yeah, so page 41, it's just following on from Rule 13 supply. In the very last paragraph of 13, before it moves on to 13.1, to determine if supply is traceable from an unoccupied or enemy-occupied hex, imagine a friendly unit in the hex instead of an enemy unit. If the hypothetical friendly unit could trace supply, the hex is in friendly supply. Use this test in all cases of tracing supply to a hex. So yeah, so we can still trace supply to that. So that's not going to affect it. But I see what we're saying, like, when I'm going to trace supply to like here, I need to consider that these two hexes are in Soviet zone of control. So okay, well this one, a Soviet unit's proximate to this, right? Moving back, a German unit's not adjacent. A German unit would be proximate. Well, yeah, it still would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember, we've got to watch this now. So it is still proximate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, but I mean, German supply is traceable there, so I'm not better just looking at that. So yeah, that's good as well, I think. That's a garrison there as well. And that's just moving on to the next, well, they're calling it a row, so fair enough. Maybe it is a class of row. I'm maybe making things up to suit myself. So that was from the west, and now we're moving east. So this one was next in line. Now, Soviet unit is proximate. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, into here. Our German unit is certainly proximate. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. German unit's not adjacent. Yeah. Now, what you've got to do... Yeah, hang on, stop. When I place this one, I need to check the ones previous, I suppose. So, can I still... Oh yeah, I mean a Soviet unit's still proximate, a German unit's still proximate. Even if we're considering that, it's fine. German supply is still traceable, that's fine, isn't it? Yeah. I think this one's fine as well. And the placement of that, does that interfere with any of these two then? I don't think so, but that seems like... It seems fiddly to me just now. It seems like awkward to try and decide. I mean, these are quite far apart. I suppose if they were maybe closer together, you might start seeing things happening. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to just pod through this just now, Grant, and see how you get on. Okay, so that's that row taken care of. There's nothing else. Say this is adjacent. So let's look at the next row. Well, there's nothing there. And then the next row, well, we've got this one marked. So, Soviet units proximate, German supplies traceable. It's not adjacent to a German unit. Let's place that. Now, could that be interfering with anything then? Maybe is that, because that's quite close to this. I mean, but these only block, they're Soviet zone of control, so they're not blocking a Soviet unit tracing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's still proximate to there, and German supply can be just traced for there. Admittedly, this guy might not be proximate to it now. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, because he can't go in there, and he can't go in there, so he is not proximate to this anymore. Because of that. But the requirement is a German unit would be proximate to the garrison hex, or German supply can be traced to the hex. So German supply is still traceable to that hex. Yeah, you've got to remember. See, if I was tracing in supply from here, I couldn't trace it into there because, yes, I see what we're getting at now. Okay, right. Okay, so I think the best way to continue with this is for me to go up each row and look for something, and then if something triggers something, then press record again. You know, I think it's one of the moments where you don't really want to look at too much of this, I don't think. Although I want you to spot if I'm getting something wrong, and I want to be told, obviously, if I'm getting it wrong. So, okay, I'll pause just now and see if I can find the next one, and maybe I can start again if I feel like I want to say something about it or ask a question maybe. Okay, something that just caught my eye there, the fact that this is still German controlled, this town. You know, I started thinking, right, I can trace this. He's got 6 movement. He can come 1, 2, 3. Well, whoever moves into this first has to stop and take the town. But I mean, well, in actual fact, yeah. I mean, like I've said, it's probably going to be that guy. Does that mean I can't trace proximity through that way? I feel like this question might have been asked before or came up somewhere else. I was wondering if it's in... hang on. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to bomb myself down with this. I think maybe you know what I'm trying to say here, if anybody wants to add a comment about that, about how tracing proximity through a town that's enemy controlled Uh, yeah, I'm not sure how to look at that one, to be honest. But anyway, okay, I'll try and mark some targets here for garrisons and see where we're at. Yeah, so yeah, it would actually be relevant to this hex. If this unit can move 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, then he's on the road again, 5, 6. That village can come into it. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I feel like you can't really do that though, but yeah, so it is going to be questionable if that should take a garrison or not then. Because I think he would be the only one that would be proximate to that, but he needs to go through that town. So I don't think that would be allowed. I'm going to leave that out, but somebody wants to help me out with that one. It might be simply a case of you can't trace through it because it is an enemy town. Maybe you can't trace proximity, but yeah, I'm just not sure. Okay. Okay, I placed another one here, but I've just remembered that I've got to be able to trace supply, haven't I? To Soviet supply, so yeah, but they can just go up here now, Grant, can't they? As long as they're not going through that town. 1, 2, 4, 5 across the river into there, and then yeah, they're fine. So this was the latest one that I placed. I think it's okay, and I don't think it's interfering with the rest. I'm just, yeah. This one was next. Didn't think German supply was traceable, but yeah, it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, right, okay. So this could come into interfering with that one then. Yeah, okay, I can see it starting to kick in a little bit here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can't go in there, and I can't go in there, and I can't go in there, because this is exerting zone of control while I'm trying to do this trace. So 1, 2, 3, and I can't go in there. 4. Yeah, I'm stuck. We can't trace German supply to that because of that garrison. So that's out, that one. Yeah, in fact, anything in here now is going to not be able to get through here, is it? For supply trace. Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to take a bit of a break here. I had a feeling something like this would kick in and like, oh my god, we're going to be here for a while. I suppose once I get in the swing of it, it might not be too gruesome. And it is only going to happen at the beginning of a turn, this. So, yeah. I'll just put things on pause just now, though. But it looks like this might be a part on its own, to be honest. Hi all. Right, this is still part 40, hopefully. I had pause last night from where I was at, and yeah, I was a bit weary with it, to be honest. I can see this being probably not my favourite part of the game. I had this similar issues with an enemy action or down. Just that grind to try to find all the garrisons and whatever, and now you're actually trying to put them down and look to see if it removes some as you're putting them down. So yeah, I mean, okay, it's only going to happen once a turn, and I'm sure I'll get smoother at it, but yeah, it was a bit late last night as well, so, but I need to get through it if I want to move on, and I want to move on, and I'm not saying it's spoiling anything for me, it's just one of the bits where you've just got to get on with and get through. However, I've got a mistake to fix, and I'm kind of lucky with this one, kind of lucky. I've got it up on the video there, yeah. It was just before the attack on the unit that we had, where was he again? It was... Yeah, it was in there, where the 6 strength pop-off unit is. And we got around about, and remember we had the other unit in Zimyev, and Took him out. Yeah, I wouldn't have took him out if I'd played my artillery combat tactic. That was it. Well, Lawrence made a comment and noticed that when I was checking, now this is the unit here, it's 23, right? And when I was checking it from here, this hex here, I was checking, because it's only mechanised infantry, it's not armoured, so it does continue checking movement methods 4 to 9, even though it's a pop-off unit, because it's mechanised infantry. Right, should have been at the page. So I think it was, it's movement method 5. No, it's not. It's movement method 4. Cause surround. And even just as I was watching that there once, I noticed that even with movement method 8, I totally missed this as well, because I actually say, well, I can't get up to this. Movement method 8 is just trying to get adjacent to a German unit. Well, adjacent to a German unit that hasn't a Soviet unit beside it, whereas this hex would work for that. And I was saying, well, I can't get around here, and I actually check this as well. And I think what it is I don't maybe realise that this is connected by road for some odd reason. And I think that's maybe what throws me, but it is connected by road. Now, we had a German unit here, so admittedly, when Lauren said that, I thought, well, it's 2 to break zone of control though as well. Are we making our way up there? Well, 1, 2, breaking zone of control, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're in this hex. So even looking at this other guy, mind you, he's coming across a minor river, so maybe not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that would be 6, 7, and he also needs to reach that hex to be adjacent. But that was with movement method 8, we could have done that. But however, like Lawrence has pointed out, movement method 4, cause surround, move to hex that if occupied by the unit would cause an unsurrounded German unit to become surrounded. Well, the way these are positioned, the 6th Army unit and this pop-off unit, if we put that pop-off unit in there, that guy's surrounded. So, yeah, but I'm getting away with this quite fortunately, because what happened, because I missed that, this guy was involved in the attack on the. No, he moved across here. That was it. He was one of the ones that moved across here and then was involved in the attack. He then obviously did not advance after combat. So, but what wasn't allowed to happen was, right, hang on. This guy was in here at the time. This guy was in here. This was fully stacked, and this guy couldn't get into there. And then with movement method, whatever it was. Now what would that be? I just need to go and just look this over, just to make absolutely sure that I've got this right. But I think you probably see what I'm saying is going to happen. This would have attacked from this hex. This would have attacked from this hex. However, this wouldn't have done that. It would have moved away. Yeah, no, Grant, you do need to have a look at this. Right, let me see how it plays out. Right, let's sort this out. Unit 20 was up here. No, they were further away, Grant. They were further away. Okay, yeah. Did he just come from there to there then? Really? Hang on a sec. Unit 20 was not there. Unit 26 was there. And Unit 23 was there. And Unit 1 was there. Unit 20 was beside 22, but I think they were over the... No. Yeah, I think they were over the water there. Hang on. Yeah, that's right. They were actually over the water. So I'm going to put them like that. That's saying they're active units, right? I think this is only 2 stacks that we need to concern ourselves with. Right, and then just remember the... Where is he? He was reduced. Was he reduced? I think he was full strength, wasn't he? Was he? I think he was full strength. Anyway, whatever. He was in there, right? And we were moving the units. Now, this is at the moment where we got to movement method 10. However, within movement method 4, I make that mistake. So I'm going to fix that mistake right now, and I'm going to move this unit, like Lauren's pointed out, 1, 2 braking zone of control, 3, 4, 5, 6 up here to surround that unit. Okay, so you can just see to surround the 3rd Corps unit, which isn't very pleasant to be honest, but however, that's what should have happened. So we then get down to unit movement methods 10, 11 and 12, right? Movement arrows, none of them can move with movement arrows. I think, to be honest, all these other guys are actually in the same position. I think he locked in there or something, and the other one had moved to there. Might have come across the river actually. Anyway, they bits are irrelevant. It's really just these 2 stacks. So what happens is unit 1, and I almost missed this. Well, I kind of say, right, he's two hexes away, and this is where movement method 11 we're looking at now, which is move closest to front objective. Well, he's 2 away, and I think, right, well, can he get any closer than 2 away? Yeah, he can, Grant. He can go 1, 2 into there, braking zone of control, and then another 3 into there. So that's what he does. He moves into there, right? And then, now we're then looking at the order of 20, 22 and 26. Now what happens then is 20 then comes across and finishes in here. So he finishes in there. Now remember, we're still considering this unit 23 in here, so at the moment this hex is fully stacked, but now it's not. So when I look at 22, I'm not sure why he just moves across the river. Let me have a look at that bit. Right, yeah, I see. And because 22 is next to move, and because I've got unit 23 in here, like I say, this hex is full, and I even mentioned the fact that if it's a shame because one of these units are about to move out, unit 26 is just about, no, well, it turns out to be 23 that moves out, but you know what I'm saying. 23 is not there. So 22 needs to move first. This hex is full. He gets these 3 hexes as options of where to move, and he ends up, must be the tiebreaker, takes him to here. However, because there is space there, he would have actually moved in here as well. So I'm putting him in here now. So that basically replaces 23 with 22. So this is how I think I'm kind of getting away with it, because it's exactly the same strength as well. It's 2 strength. So let me just make sure, because I think then 26 and 23 end up in here, but obviously 23 is not there. Yeah, so what happens is unit 23 does move in here, and then unit 26 moves in here. But however, we've not got a 23, so I can only move 26 in. So what it's ending up being is we've only got 2 units in here, but we've got 2 units in here, and the strength is exactly the same. So there'd be no difference with the combat. Chip pools are exactly the same, strength is exactly the same. This unit gets eliminated. It's this unit that takes a hit, because he was 6 strength as well. He takes a hit for them, they must get 1 hit. And we're eliminated. And the advance after combat is, I'm just going to leave it the same, would have just been this guy. He advanced, we checked the other guys, all the dice rolls failed. I think they would have been the same. I mean, okay, there was 2 coming for there and 1 coming for there. I'm not going to mess with that. I think that's fine. Just leave that like that. So that means nothing would have changed with the battle. This unit is now away up here surrounding this guy. So, yeah, just need to be more careful. It's just maybe the road, but I mean, I can see the road going up there. Surely I knew the road came down here. Just a bit careless and not looking. But the fact he even try and count up there, you know, he, like I say, he could have got up adjacent to him and satisfied movement method 8. So, however, well, there we go. Was there anything else? I don't think so. Oh yeah, the other one was, and I've not had any comments yet. Well, I could go and check. I've not looked for a bit. It was also once mentioned, But it got me looking at it a little bit, and this was movement method 5, I think, I want to say. It was, yeah. And but I mentioned it at first as well. It's about this third tank unit in here. This guy wasn't here at the time. This was since Impulse, an Impulse since then. So he was in here on his own, and I think it was actually the Unit 22 that was up here beside him. And this is armoured on its own, so it wants to be relieved, and you can see that it's now had that with the 69th unit, where an infantry unit's coming in. But, so the movement method 5 is to Soviet VP Hex. Any unit move to an empty or garrison Soviet VP Hex targeted for the active front into which the German unit is proximate, or from turn 3, German supplies traceable. Well, that didn't apply, but then the second part is Soviet infantry unit. If unable to move to an unoccupied Soviet VP Hex, move to a VP Hex occupied only by Soviet armoured units, regardless of German proximity or supply trace. So I was looking at these, but these were mechanised infantry, so fortunately they couldn't do it. And Lawrence was saying that, I mean, this is targeted specific, it's targeted for Voronezh front. So the first part of that movement method definitely doesn't work. We couldn't move to an empty garrison Soviet VP Hex that was targeted for Voronezh front. However, I did slightly doubt that the second part, because it doesn't mention the bit about targeted for the active front. So I popped the question out there just to ask if they were both. I mean, I kind of thought that they probably were, but it looks like separate sort of rules, if you like, and you think it would maybe say, I think it would maybe make that clear, and it's maybe not clear to me. I mean, I think it probably still would be regarded, and what that means is we couldn't use an infantry from Popov to go and relieve that guy because it's targeted for the Voronezh front. Fortunately, it was only mechanised infantry options that we had. I think the infantry that we had was this guy in it who was in here, and he didn't have the movement to get there. So maybe just as well he didn't if I would have been breaking the rule there. But I'm still not 100% sure about that, because and like I said to Lawrence, I say as well, I can see what you mean, but I think I'll maybe ask a question just in case, just to sort of satisfy that it does mean to both parts, the whole targeted for active front part. Right, in fact, I'll go and have a quick look just now and see if I might have had any response to that. Right, I did have one response from Michael. Right, I'm going to try your second name here, Michael, rather. Kotsarinas. That's probably not right, but it starts with a K, so I don't know. Kotsarinas. Who's been doing a German playthrough, a Greek gentleman, I believe. So, he seems to think no. He suggests that no, they wouldn't be the same because they are two separate. Now, I'm stretching over there to look at it, but I think because they're two, they look like they're two separate rules. I think that's where my doubt came from, Michael. I kind of thought, I wonder if, you think because they're sort of like highlighted in bold, it looks like they're different sort of parts completely. You would think that it would be mentioned in the second part if it had to be targeted for the active front, or maybe there could have been a bit. In fact, would it not have just said to Soviet VP Hex targeted for the active front as the actual main title of the movement method, maybe? If it was going to mean both parts. So there's another argument to say that it might not be. So we'll see. Well, that's good that Michael seems to think. Well, I'm not saying it's good, but we need to know for sure. So hopefully, maybe Martin will shine his view on things, and with a bit of luck, Mr. Butterfield will give the yay or nay to it, and we can move on. But it's not something that's maybe going to come up. Well, I don't know. It might actually, but right. Anyway, right. I want to get back to some play because it looks like this whole part is just going to be just getting these garrisons sorted. So. As you can see, I've got some of them placed, scattered around now. Yeah, the tricky part is that once you put them down, you've then got to make sure that the other ones are still needing to be there, you know. And that probably wasn't a good reason to stop halfway through doing it either. It's probably something you need to concentrate on and do. Well, it looks like I've got this far. Am I right in thinking that if I keep going here and laying more down, and then I find out that maybe this one hasn't, like, I can keep going, placing more, and then maybe just double check them from here back to see if they still then apply. Do you think that's the best way of doing it? And would that work? Or do I need to do them each individual time when I put one down, work out from there if the other ones are still applicable? I don't know. Right, I mean I've got cubes here, so they must be for the next ones in wine, and this must have been the last one I placed. So and I've not got a cube here. Oh, this unit might have made a big difference to that actually. Because now we cannot trace supply in here. So in actual fact, yeah, German supply or German proximity will not be traceable to that. Well, I didn't put any other ones in there, did I? And that one's in the city. They go in the towns or cities. Okay, let me try because I don't think this is something you really want to like watch through, is it? I mean, I think if I place them all out, then we'll maybe have a look at them and maybe take some away. So I'll try to do it that way. I think that's probably the best way. Yeah, so just jumping in here, I had a cube here, so this is the first one that I was looking at. So I'm looking at that saying, right, Soviet unit proximate to it, Soviet supply can be traced to it, German supply can be traced to it. I mean, not German well, actually, possibly German proximity, but it doesn't matter. German supply does. A German unit's not adjacent to it, so that seems legitimate for a placement, right? So, but once I place that, I then look to see this one here. A German unit's still proximate to that, isn't it? Yeah, German unit's proximate to it. Because I was thinking supply is not traceable now, because once you place these, they exert a zone of control. So that's the kind of tricky bit. So there's the placement of that. I mean, this guy can come. He's proximate to this. Or to be honest, we can trace German supply to these, can't we? And German proximity Soviet proximity must be to these, because I must have checked that. Right. Are you sure, Grant? Right, I don't think it was coming through the town there, because I remember having an issue with that. So how is he getting out to here? How are we getting out to here, Grant? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How are we getting out to there? I don't know. Well, actually, no. I mean, I've got this. This must have been one of the first ones I placed. A Soviet unit's proximate. What Soviet unit's proximate to that, Grant? Where have I found that one from? Right, that's really annoying me, because I mean, I think we're talking all three of these. So what am I missing here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Soviet unit's not proximate to any of the three. Right, I'm on my way back to look at the footage, because I did I copy it across? I think I did. Right, I'm on my way back to look where I'm getting this from. Okay, I see the problem. The unit that I was tracing proximate to, I should have realised that this would have had something to do with it. It was the unit in here, and the unit in here was this guy. Remember? So he does indeed have one. He's not breaking zone of control. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He can reach all these 3 hexes. However, he's not there anymore because that was the mistake that we fixed. So even better timing with that Lawrence catching that one just while I'm trying to put these garrisons, because that counts out all 3 of these garrisons, I think. However, hang on. Maybe you can still do some. No, because I think I looked at this. 1, 2, 3. Well, thing is, some of these up here might be relevant now. I might need to start this again. Yeah, I'm better just starting this again. Yeah, damn. Right, I'll pause and put them out though, rather than put you through the pain. Right, okay, I've got that far and there's been a slight change. Obviously it's because this unit's up here, so these are applicable and these ones down here are not, because that guy's there and not here anymore. This one's just been plonked in. I'm looking for, obviously the big ones are a Soviet unit's proximate to it and German supply is traceable to it. I think that's what the main things are sticking in my head right now. I've came to this one and this is a bit of a, yeah, maybe I should have asked this question because this is the one that we're moving through the town. I mean, he has to stop when he moves into there. And to be honest, he's the first one to move. He's the only one in that hex that's going to be able to reach here. So what did I decide? That I wasn't going to count that one, I think. Don't think I'm going to count that one because, I mean, if pop-off activate, right? If mobile group pop-off activate, the first thing that happens is he is selector number 1, he moves into there and he has to stop, right? So knowing that he's the only unit that can reach this with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? He is the only one that can reach this if he's allowed to continue his move and if he's allowed to count that. But I don't think he is allowed to count that. No, he's not, because he can't go through an enemy town. That's the one enemy town. Yeah, and in fact, yeah, none of them can count through that. I mean, we know what's going to happen. We know this guy's going to go in there, and then these guys are going to all come through. But he was the one, yeah, I'm not going to count that one. I think that's right. Okay, let me carry on placing some more. I think, was this the one I was going to give you an example of? Well, it's not really relevant anymore, is it? Because Soviet unit is proximate to, well, hang on though, Grant, remember. Well, that one was, because this guy can go 1, 2, and 1, 2. Yeah, it is proximate. We just got to remember, we can't come through that town to check proximity, because it's enemy controlled. It's German controlled. German owned, sorry. So I think this one's okay. Supply can be traced. Like I say, if I wanted to trace supply to this one, I can trace it down here. I can't trace it through here because this Soviet exerts a zone of control. And just the same with this one, I can't trace that through there because that one exerts a zone of control. But this one can trace supply that way. That one can trace supply that way. So I think that's okay. Right, I'll try and find some more. Yeah, so just looking at this one next, and I don't think a Soviet unit's proximate to this at all. So this guy, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, coming straight through the woods here. And then, like we say, we can't trace through this town. Because, yeah, I mean, proximity does that. Of course it does, Grant. You've got to take it into consideration. It tells you that in the rule, doesn't it? I don't know why you're looking, but you're looking, aren't you? Proximity, proximate. Movement restrictions are taken into account and determine proximity. These include terrain, enemy units, and zones of control. Yeah, you can't just wander through an enemy town. Okay, so I mean, for him to get here, this guy would be 2 crossing the river. That's a broken hex, 2 as well. That's 4. 5 in that clear hex, 6 into there, and that's, yeah, that's the best we can sort of get. The infantry 1, 2, 3, 4 is this one shot as well. So I don't think this one counts. Now, my guess is this one probably does. Because Soviet units proximate, German supply can be traced. Now remember, I can't trace through hexes round this one. Oh, hang on though. Yeah, I've got to make sure that these are still applicable, aren't they? But they are. I mean, Soviet proximity is always going to be if if a Soviet unit's proximate to this one, when I place this one, that's not going to change the fact that Soviet proximity is still okay for that one. The thing that might change is, can a German unit be proximate to that one, or can German supply be traceable? And that's what I've said, that is okay. So with this one, I think this is okay, because we can trace German supply right down here. 1, 2 onto that road and then away. That's fine. Soviet unit is proximate. Soviet units can, they can trace supply. They can trace. They don't need to go through the town. They can trace. These can trace supply. So it's not adjacent to a German unit. No, that's right. That's the other condition you've got to watch for. So that's fine. So with that going there now, does that change these? No, because obviously Soviet units are still proximate. I don't need to look at that again. What I do need to look at, can I still trace German supply to that? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. So that doesn't affect any of the rest. I think that's right. I think I'm seeing that like that. So, and then units up the back, villages up the back here are not in German supply. So German supply cannot be traced to any of these. There was this wee issue when we thought we had a gap here, and this was about the only gap that we had. And in fact, it still is. So there's nothing up the back here that we're going to be able to look at. So I should be able to finish this a bit quicker now, hopefully. Okay, moving along a bit now. There was a few in there that were adjacent to German units, etc. This one's adjacent to a Soviet unit. So we are Soviet proximity to that, yes. And German supply traceable with that, yes. That's not adjacent to a German unit. Yeah, I think that was fine. Okay, yeah, now I'm sure there's going to be quite a few in here, I think. So that should be the next one in the next row. This is proxima, and we can trace supply. Does that possibly alter the proximity, the supply trace for that? No, because it can go 1, 2, 3 onto the road and away. Yeah, so it was quite close to it. You can see that obviously we can't trace through this hex, but I can go 1, 2, 3 onto the road and away. So yeah, this one's fine. Right, next one would maybe be this, which I think it is. Soviet unit proximate, German supply traceable, going round about that. So does that interfere with this one now? No. Yeah, I think they can both live together, can't they? Obviously, again, I mean, a Soviet unit can trace through them. There's nothing to stop them. At least I'm not missing that. I mean, it just says, when checking German proximity and supply trace in this process, all garrisons not adjacent to German units are considered to possess a Soviet zone of control. And remember, there's not going to be any garrisons that are adjacent to German units, because these are the first ones we're placing, and we're not allowed to place them adjacent to a German unit. So, yeah. And then it says, if the placement of a garrison causes another garrison in a village to no longer meet the placement requirements, remove that earlier placed garrison, even if placed in an earlier turn. For example, if you place a garrison in a hex because a German unit would be proximate to the garrison hex, then you place a garrison in another hex that blocks that proximity, you would remove the earlier placed garrison. I'm just finding, like, German supply is so easy to trace just now, so I don't really see. I mean, this can trace off this map edge on this road, and this can just go 1, 2 onto the road as well, not interfering with that. So yeah, I don't see the problem with them. So I also think that we've got another couple. Now we go up the way. That one won't be don't think. Well, that's 3 to move into that as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's 3 to move into the woods. He's breaking zone of control, so even though he's got 7 movement, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So don't think so, but that one will be. Right, now that's going to be on this road now, so okay. Does that interfere with this one's trace? No. That might interfere with this one, yeah. It will, won't it? This one, 1, 2, 3. Oh no, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there, and then off. He doesn't need to go around that, so that's okay. So I think that's okay. Right, this one might spoil it then, because that's going to go there. Soviet unit proximate. German supply can be traced 1, 2, 3 there. I think this one's going to go away now, isn't it? Yeah, because we cannot trace German supply now to that, because that's exerting zone of control into these two. That's exerting zone of control into these two. That's exerting. So the only way I could go is no, and then there's a Soviet unit. So that one now comes away then. There you go. That's how that works, I think. And I suppose the final possibility might be here. German supply traceable 1, 2, 3 down to this road. Yes. Okay. But it doesn't interfere with this guy or this guy and Soviet proximity. Yes. Okay. That's maybe not as bad as I thought then, actually. When I had a feeling that once I got it sussed, well, here's hoping, eh? These are things I don't want to be making mistakes with, of course, but right, I'm really struggling down the map now. I think, yeah, well, I don't want to mess with it tonight, but I think I'm going to have to move the map, and then I'll just need to stretch up when I'm up in this area. Well, I can move it up a little bit, maybe. But if I'm going to move it at all, it might be better off just doing it on a one or a... Right, I think I'll persevere tonight, though. Okay, I think that's that all done, that part. So, that's just the first part of the supply phase, isn't it? Jesus. Right, come on, Grant. You've got to get to at least the command phase. Well, yeah, I mean, we're checking supply stats now, right? Of German units, then Soviet units. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take a break though. I've got to do something. This is still going to take another 10 minutes or something probably. Right, I'll just go and pause just now, and hopefully I'll be back and put this bit together. And I'll put a comment in the header as well, because there's not been any gameplay. It's really just the startup, the reserve, the card prep, and the supply phase, really, innit? Just because this is the first time I've done the Garrisons bit. And then obviously fixing mistakes as well. Doesn't help. Right, I'll just pause just now. Right, I've been on pause for a few hours there. I thought I'd try and get this bit finished. I was hoping to get the turn really started, get the Soviet impulse, because obviously, I think the dread is pop-off activating. But I'm looking around at the Garrisons, wondering about how they're going to affect things now as well, I suppose. But yeah. Anyway, just a quickie before we start. John Brown pointed out to me this guy when I was reading. I think I only read in the player aid about this guy possibly being able to bounce back to reserves. I'm saying, surely he can't if he's surrounded. And I only read the player aid because I knew that he wasn't stacked with another unit or adjacent to 2 other Soviet units. So I knew he couldn't bounce back for that reason. But I didn't read the player aid properly. Where is it? Yeah. It's active on-map unit in hex in supply is eligible. So the hex that he's in needs to be in supply. So Yeah, I mean, it doesn't need reserve supply, I don't think. So, admittedly, if he did have a unit adjacent and could trace supply, but he's not. He's not able to trace supply. So thanks for that, John. And it does kind of make it more clearer in the rules, I think. I had a glance. Right, sorry. Might as well say that as well. It says, the third bullet says, supply can be traced from the unit's hex. Reserve supply is not required, and supply's state and dispersal have no effect. So it could be, so in actual fact, the unit could be out of supply. I read it wrong on the play raid. I was thinking it just said that the unit had to be in supply, and that's actually not the case. As long as you can trace supply. Okay. Right, let's get the supply phase finished then. So we've done the garrisons, but hopefully they're right. But yeah, I suppose we could end up, missing one that maybe should have been taken away. But I think it looks pretty good. I think you're looking to look at them in general and say, can German supply be traced to them? And I think when you look at them like that, I can come out here, and you've got to remember that they kind of, the zone of control that they exert. But yeah, these ones maybe started getting a bit fiddly, but I think I got them all right. I think the fact this guy can trace along, this can come around, this one must be able to come down, that one can come down, and hopefully I've got all that right. Anyway, I don't want to spend too much more time on that, so I get this part put together and put out there, and then, because this is something new that I'm doing, if I'm making an absolute complete mess of it, which is possible when you do something for the first time, you maybe just don't catch something right, and then it can have a huge knock-on effect. So I don't want to spend, and I'm up to date with all my video parts, so I've only got this part to look over once, although it looks like it's going to be a long part now, a long part or nothing really. Right, well, get on with it, Grant. Determine supply status of German units, then from turn 4 onwards, Soviet units. Remove out of supply and isolate markers from units in supply, place out of supply markers on unsupplied units. If already out of supply, place isolated marker. Yeah, I just realised that guy's going to get isolated, isn't he? Well, yeah, he is, Grant, so let's not muck about. Is it on the other side of that? It is indeed. So he gets isolated because he cannot trace supply. It's him in a worse state of affairs now. This guy's going to be out of supply. Well, that's the right counter. Yeah, that's right. He's out of supply, but we've given up hope on him as well. These register units were just placed. Kharkov is fine. This guy is out of supply. Yeah, he's surrounded. Yeah, he's surrounded, yeah. Yes. So, like I say, Kharkov's alright. This guy's okay. And this guy, thanks, Warrens. I look at him. Is out of supply. Because, this pop-off unit was able to come up here and surround them. That's the one I missed. And then, I think everything else is okay, is it? Yeah, he's okay. No, hang on. Our garrisons... Surely garrisons are only interfering with... Surely they don't exert a zone of control now. Right, I need to just double check though. Okay, yeah, I think at 15.2 on page 45, properties of Soviet garrisons, and the last sentence is, a garrison blocks the tracing of German supply through its hex. Okay, that's fair enough, but as long as I can trace round the side of it, it doesn't exert its zone of control now, does it? I think it only exerts... When checking German proximity and supply trace in this process, all garrisons not adjacent to German units are considered to possess a Soviet zone of control. Yeah, that's just when you're placing garrisons, I think. I remember there was something similar within enemy action or den with us. Yeah. Should I just check supply maybe? Yeah, 13.1 tracing supply, second bullet. From there, the 7 hex path can't pass through enemy town or city hexes, or hexes occupied by enemy units or garrisons. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. They obviously don't exert a zone of control. They only exert a zone of control when you're doing that check for the placement of them. So yeah, because that would be in a bit of a fright because I wouldn't been able to trace supply for this guy. However, I can just go 1, 2, 3, and then I'm into the road that matters, you know. So that's fine, and then this guy's fine, and then these 3 up the top are fine. Okay, so that's all ours. Soviet-wise, you know, there's probably not an awful lot to worry about, is there? I think we've got 1 and that's it. So, just looking there. Now, isolated units, I don't think exert a zone of control. Not that that's relevant here, but does not exert a zone of control, yeah. So, you don't need to worry about the fact tracing past that. But these are all fine. This is fine. This is fine. Yeah, these are all fine. It's only the one that we went in there to surround and then got surrounded ourselves in the process. Well, once Warren's pointed out to me, is that guy, yeah? Yeah. So he cannot trace supply, and the rest of the first guards units and that are fine, yeah. Okay. I suppose the good thing about that is we could have a go at this guy with third corps, and remember this guy would be able to attack as long as a supplied unit is attacking. So we could have 8 strength. I mean, it's only two chip pools, that 8 strength against 3, and he's out of supply, so it might be something to consider. But we've got more worrying things to think about though than that. You know, I did point out that this. Oh, wait a minute. That was the unit that moved up there as well. Although he's probably proximate from here now, isn't he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, and he can go through the garrison. And 1, 2, 3, crossing the minor river, breaking zone of control. 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So there is a unit still proximate to us over. But I was kind of cursing a bit when I seen, because at the time this unit was here, and this is the one that we had to fix the mistake. He was down here, and then I thought, I deployed the 40 core units up there. Could I not have deployed a unit in there? Because remember, I could do it with strategic rather than tactical. But then when I looked, I'm only 1, 2, 3, 4 away. I need to be 5 away from an enemy unit, so I wouldn't be able to deploy there. In fact, that's even closer now, isn't it? 1, 2, 3. Oh no, it's just the same. 4 away. So I couldn't have deployed in there anyway. However, what I can do, and the Soviets are getting to go first, mind. So, but what I could do is, this is within 3 of this third corps unit. So, I'm pretty sure I could deploy a third corps unit into there. And we've got a big stack of them, remember. So if we do get a third corps card in my hand to start with, that may well be what I'm doing, deploying my reserves. However, if Popov activate, he's going to be breaking surround on that. Do you think he'll care about that? I don't know. Maybe he will. That would be good. Right, anyway. So that's supply all checked, isn't it? Because I want to get this bit put together and then consider starting the command phase. So we've placed out supply markers, yada yada yada. Yeah. And the last two bits are from turn 8 onwards and turn 7. So that's us into the command phase, and we start with a Soviet impulse, and then yeah, I might get this going, but I'm going to cut here and put this part. This will be part 40 finishing up, and well, hopefully be back with part 41 soon. Okay, cheers.